What is going on, Casually FC? Welcome to the Wednesday stream on the channel. Today, there'll be no Casually Chelsea show. Figured since news has been a bit slow, we're going to go ahead and bring you a react because it's been a while since we reacted to anything. And I stumbled upon this video some time ago. I think it came out almost 2 weeks ago. And I kind of wanted to watch it, but I said, you know what? I kind of want to see what the panel thinks about it, what the chat thinks about it, and see what we actually think about it as a whole. So I'm not entirely sure what's discussed here, what things I agree on with Miz or what we don't agree on, but it's going to be an interesting video to watch when the subject has to do with Thiago Silva and the three at the back that we play, or, five at the back, the three center backs, whatever you want to call it. Okay. But with me, I have Real Chris, Oliver, I myself, Marshalldbdx, here to react to this. Before we go ahead and start the video, guys, make sure to smash the like button. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, as it does help us out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. I know things have been a little slow because of international break, but things will pick up again very soon with Premier League right around the corner. But it does help us out. We are on our way to 3K, so help us get to that goal, help us achieve that goal, and I'd be very grateful for that. Be sure to check out the links in the description below for everyone's content. The I almost said Twitch. I can't talk right now, guys. I'm sorry. I'm stumbling my words here. I'm just getting by. But yeah, check out the links in the description below for the Twitter, the Discord, my other YouTube channel with my content on there. We have Sarcasm City, Ahmeds Channel, all that fun stuff there. And leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think about the things that Miz is going to bring up in this video, our comments, our reactions to it, and what you might think. Obviously, all that interaction does help us out. And also, be sure to be active in the chat. Check out the memberships. We have 4 different memberships starting at 99p. You get some awesome emojis and all that stuff. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to God of Frogs, our member as well. But I will say one thing, guys, and I'm seeing some comments here. So one thing that I like to do on Casually FC is that I like to challenge ideas, and I like to bring people who have different mindsets into the channel. So normally, and if you guys are, rigorous watchers of Casually FC, the Casually Chelsea show and everything, you will notice that there will be times where the panel doesn't agree, and we will have, our differences. And I think that's what makes this channel a little unique. It's not an echo chamber of just opinions and ideas and us emphasizing to one another, like, yeah, I agree with this and that. Like, we do like to bring a little bit of nuance and a little bit of differences of opinions onto the channel. That being said, listen, I enjoy Miz. I think Miz is a great person. We've had him on the channel multiple times now, and I respect Miz a lot. Do I agree with everything Miz says? Not necessarily, especially when it comes to jizzing on the opposition. So I don't necessarily agree with everything Miz does, but Miz knows that. And that's, I think, there's a way to do it that's respectful, and you can have your differences in opinion. And then there's a way to do it to just be outright rude and just, a shitty person about it. So here on Casually FC, we have our disagreements, we have our agreements, and sometimes, it's all out of respect. It's all just bringing you different types of content, different types of perspective. And sometimes I haven't seen this video yet. Sometimes the videos we react to, we just completely agree with. It's actually sensible, and sometimes we don't agree with it, which you guys have seen before as well. So that being said, we're gonna watch this video, we're gonna see what Miz has to say, and we're gonna see if we disagree or agree with it. So we'll see. But anything you guys want to say before we go ahead and jump into this? So based off the title, Thiago Silva is the root cause of all our issues. Chelsea fan base. I don't know what else.
He's addressing like the fan base blaming Thiago Silva for for everything, and I agree. Like, Thiago Silva is not a fault for the reason why we lost that game. Not the main reason for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We had big issues not scoring goals against Nottingham Forest. That was a big issue.
And by the way, Jacob, I'm not targeting you. This isn't targeted at anyone. It's not targeted at you. I just want to reiterate that this isn't an echo chamber. You're not going to always find people you agree with on this channel. I like to bring other thoughts and other mindsets into this, despite how much I agree with it. And listen, guys, you know me. I stick to my takes. I have some pretty shitty takes, okay? I'll admit it. I still like the Havertz one, okay? I admit to these takes and I stand by them. You know, I still think this guy is a good player. We'll see what happens to him.
I'm waiting
But,
for
like,
that defense.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But, like, you know, not everyone's gonna have a good take. I think everyone always has shitty takes, and sometimes it's enough to the point where, like, you just don't want to listen to the content creator anymore. I know, like, people move on and out of different content creator spheres and all that stuff. That's natural. It is what it is. But yeah, essentially, like, I don't have the best takes either. You know what I mean? Like, I try to, you know, be logical and sensible, but sometimes I just don't have them. And the same goes for everyone else on this panel. Like, Chris is full of shitty takes. So
Yeah, I'm
it's
full of
just
shit
like,
takes. Someone who's defends Kai Havertz today.
hey, listen.
Hey, listen, me too. I wanted Lukaku back in 2021, whenever it
Hey,
was. So,
a lot of us are
there you go.
victim to that one. So, and you know what? Chris till this day still defends Werner. Before my bad Kai Havertz take, it was your Werner take, Chris. So
At least Werner did
listen.
more.
Listen, we all have some shitty takes on here from time to time, and that's just normal. That's what makes us all unique. If we all had the same takes, we would all watch the same exact fucking YouTube channel. So we're trying to be a little different here, and we're trying to see what Miz has to say. But again, not targeted at anyone. I'm just saying it generally for those who think that bringing this guy on and stuff. Like, listen, we like to bring unique takes onto the channel. So we'll see what this is about. But let's start the video. Enough of me talking. Let's see what Miz has to say. And by the way, panel, if you guys want me to pause or stop and address something, just let me know. I'll go ahead and pause the video and we can address it.
Sure.
But all right, let's go ahead and watch this and see what Miz has to say about our fan base. And this is true, by the way. Everyone must watch the Kafka's View because this guy is spitting out some awesome content.
I told you guys.
Since I was going to react to him,
our
by the way.
abysmal loss to Nottingham.
Hold on, before I start. I was thinking about reacting to Alexis, but we'll leave it for another time. Alexis, you're spared today.
Maybe
Big
next
up Alexis
international
in the
break,
chat.
eh?
Yeah, next international break. We'll see. Alexis, big up to you, my friend. And guys, go check out the Kafka's View. Let's see what Miz has to say, all right?
First, yesterday, that over the next coming couple of weeks, you know, during this international break, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. We're all going to suffer. We will suffer, and we need to suffer together. And I've warned a lot of you guys that over this next couple of weeks, things will get so toxic. People will start throwing many different players, this, that. They'll have many different theories. And the player that is getting thrown under the bus at the moment all over social media is...
No.
Wait,
All right, cool.
We saw Thiago Silva, replying yesterday off the back of someone posting a particular comment in regards to him being an issue.
You know what I should do? I should pull up that comment. Let's see if I can find it. If I remember correctly, I believe what he's referring to is, and guys, correct me if I'm wrong here or I'm being inaccurate, but I believe what he was referring to is that there was a tweet, or not a tweet, an Instagram post saying that the reason we're doing a 3 at the back is because of Thiago Silva. And that it could be holding us back and all that, this said and done, which...
Something along those lines, yeah.
Something along those lines. I'm going to find it myself, but like, to be fair though, I think there is some credence to that argument. You could say it is possible. I did say this before, guys, and I don't know if you remember, some time ago during the summer transfer window as we were starting, I mentioned to you guys in the panel, like, do you guys think that it's possible we actually stick with 3 at the back despite going with Pochettino? And a lot of people said no, Pochettino is a 4 at the back type of 4-2 or 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 type of manager. And now we're seeing that although we do attack in a 4-2-3-1, defensively we go into a three at the back,
I wouldn't
and
say
also
do
we do have
I think it's
three
Marshall. I think it's the other way around.
currently.
I think it's
I
the other way
was gonna
around.
say,
We
do
attack
we?
with the 3 and we defend in the 4.
Because do you ever see Chilwell really come back defense like that much?
Yeah,
Like,
he never goes
'cause
into
he's
that
a
wing
left
back
wing.
area.
no, but that's what I mean. Like he's supposed to, like, because you guys keep saying we're like goes a back 5, right? Like Colwell's the left back, and then we've got 2
Mhm.
centre backs, and Gusto's the right back. If you go say
I-
we're going to back 5,
I know it's
then
not three at the
Chilwell.
back, but it,
Yeah,
it,
there
it,
we
it
go.
turns into three at the back at some point, which not necessarily like
At
the
certain
thing is
parts of
we,
the game,
we
maybe,
play with
but
three
not
we
much.
play with 3 center backs in our defense. That's what's bothering me, you know.
Players Colwell's left back though. Yeah, we'll play with 3 centre backs, but
But
Colwell
he's a
is
center
like
back. He's not a
he-
left back.
yeah,
We have
yeah,
Cucurella, we have
I know.
Madsen,
Hang on.
and we have Chilwell.
I know,
The-
but
the-
like you,
So
go
is Ben White for Arsenal. He plays
Mm.
right back,
Next
and
that
they
day for
they had a
Man City.
title challenge last season. This is where my side of the argument comes in. You don't have to play with 2 centre backs and 2 full backs in order to play good football or successful football. You can play with 3 centre backs in a back line and still have it work. Ben White is just one example of that. There are plenty of others, and I'll
Like I
go
said,
into that
Ake.
possibly throughout the video. Yeah, Ake is another example, but anyway, I'll get into that deeper once we go through the video.
I think I actually
Yeah.
found a tweet right here, real quick.
But
Let me just pull this
Thiago
up.
is right. Like he is. Then we're not really playing a back 3, and it's like it's rarely you see that shape anyway. Because like let's face it, Chilwell barely comes back to defend now. He's literally a left winger, and as sad as that is, like he's playing a left wing. He is literally a left wing. We're playing with too many defensive players at the minute, I would say, because with Nottingham Forest, like we had like 8 defensive like minded players, and that's not on. Like you shouldn't be going that defensively minded against Nottingham Forest, and that's not on Thiago Silva's fault. I don't think. Either.
So this was the original post that they're referring to. This won't go down well, but I think it's time to drop Thiago Silva. Playing him is becoming a problem because we have to play a back 5 to shoehorn him in. I don't agree with that. I don't think it's a back 5, but playing 4 at the back will allow us to be better going forward, and I don't think we'll suffer much at the back. Nothing but respect to Thiago, but I think we'd be better off without him at the minute. And then Thiago Silva responds with, "If you look closely at the game, we're playing with a line of 4, my friend, but there's no problem in assuming that I'm also responsible for the defeat. Put the pressure on me, no problem yesterday." Which, again, big up to Thiago Silva taking accountability, taking responsibility as like a leader. But I don't think we lost that game because of Thiago Silva. I think we lost that game because, like what you said, Chris, we were playing with barely any attacking players. Our only attacking players were Sterling, Jackson, and then we had, I guess if you want to put Enzo in there, Enzo was
he's not
there
an attacking player though.
yeah, but he has the
He's
ability
a
to score goals.
I mean, he's
He's
not a
not
defensive
a box
player.
No, but he's box to box. He's not like an attacking player. He's not defensive either, but he's not like.
Yeah, but I've said
attacking.
if you want to put him in there,
I
like if you
know.
want to, I don't consider him
And
like
if we
a
have to
pure
make him
attacking
be
player.
attacking like the whole season, then we're in trouble.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. But like, the thing is, though, I think an issue is we're playing with 3 center backs, and I think there's a reason for that because I think there is a point where we do go 3 at the back. I don't think that Chilwell comes back to defend at any point. I think he's very much a left wing. If anything, maybe sometimes a left wing back, but he's been left winger. And Gusto goes up the pitch too. So I don't know, guys. Like, it's a very.
Gusto just overlaps as a fullback, I think. Like, and he does come back.
But he goes
Chilwell
high up the pitch.
He
That's
he
my
does
point.
because fullbacks are supposed to really do that. They're supposed to go up and down. Like that's what their job is normally. For me, anyway. If you're like a bigger team, especially like against Nottingham Forest, where we dominated, we had like 78 possession against Nottingham Forest. Like so, I did expect to see like Gusto and any other fullbacks as well to go up. Like Colwell didn't bomb up because I don't think he's like that type of player like to always go up. But Gusto is a natural.
But that's what I mean.
fullback.
I think. So you guys saying it's the opposite, right? When we attack, we keep 3 defenders at the back. Am I correct in saying
Yeah,
that?
that's my interpretation of it, and that's not just us. I think this is very similar to what Guardiola does with Manchester City. How they go into possession with a 3. But I'll use last season as an example. They line up with a back 4. All 4 of the players in the back line, centre backs and full backs, they start with all centre backs there, what they do in possession is Stones will move into the midfield from the back line, and then you got your three, and then Stones and Rodri as double pivot. So that's where you get the three when you're on the ball. I think Poch is trying to do something very similar here, and he did this a little bit at Spurs, to be honest. But he used to do it in a different way. He had Dyer from midfield drop in between Vertonghen and Alderweireld. So he kind of has a bit of a history of doing this anyway. So, that's my interpretation of it.
But do you guys think that maybe with this team, which is a very young team, mind you, right? Average age is 21. Do you guys think that maybe Pochettino is doing a little too much when he should just be keeping it very fundamentals and basic? And do you think part of it is because of Thiago Silva? Because, like I said, why are we playing with three center backs? I know Chilwell in this formation is a left back, but that's not his natural position, and we all of us here know it. If he wanted to play with a natural left back, why not just go with Maatsen? Why not just go with Cucurella? And let's ignore recent rumors about, exile and all that stuff. Assuming that Poch has the liberty to play with these players, why not just choose those players?
Well, I was going to say, it's because, Cucurella, I don't know if he's just not rated by Poch, Poch doesn't trust him. And with, Maatsen, because all we saw with Maatsen in pre-season, this is where it doesn't make any sense with Pochettino. He's only played him at left wing, and, he's not played him in the season, really played him much at left wing, but he's playing Chilwell, so I don't understand why Maatsen's not playing over Chilwell, but, so I don't know if he doesn't rate Maatsen at left back, but then again, he hasn't used them at all, but he doesn't rate us to be any of our left backs at left back. He only rates a centre back at left back, and that's what Pochettino so far feels more comfortable with. Maybe a change in the future. I hope it does change in the future because we're not picking up any really results. We only picked up a result against Luton City. That's the only team we've only picked up a result, and that's the team where I put 20th in the league because they're shit. Yeah. It's not been good enough. What's happening? Whatever Poch done. But I think that's the reason why he's done it. He doesn't rate left backs. I want to see Cucurella play at left back myself, actually. Give him a chance. But if Poch doesn't want to play him there, I can't really argue it. He's got to do what he's got to do, what feels right about it.
Gotcha. Oliver, do you want me to just continue the video, or do you want something to say?
I'm fine to continue for now. Go ahead.
Okay, let's go ahead and continue then.
That it's because of him we're playing a back three. It's because of him, we're accommodating the situation for Levi. With Ben Chilwell being the left wing. It's because of him Levi Colwill is playing left back. It's because of him we are so disorganized. We are lethargic. We are lackluster. It all seems to be because of Thiago Silva now. And we saw Thiago Silva yesterday in Instagram coming out and replying. Let me make one thing very, very clear. Thiago Silva is not the root cause of everything that is going wrong with our results at the moment. 4 games played in the Premier League season and 4 points. Thiago Silva is not the root cause. We have to be honest and we have to be sincere about this situation and say it how it is. Pochettino is the one that needs to take 100% responsibility in this miserable start to the season. Pochettino, he's the one who needs to take full responsibility. He's the one who's setting us up in that structure. He's the one who's putting out the lineups. He's the one who is putting Ben Chilwell as left wing. He's the one who is putting 5 defenders. He's the one who is putting Levi Colwill as left back. No one's got a gun on his head to do any of this stuff. If Thiago Silva is such an issue, why are you starting him? Why?
Okay, so I wanted to touch on that. So I think he's right. I think at the end of the day, even if you do play Thiago Silva, let's just say the argument, even if you're putting 3 center backs right in the lineup to partner with Thiago Silva for the sake of maybe to help him out, because at the end of the day, Thiago Silva is still a very good player. Defensively, still very sharp when it comes to positioning. He doesn't have the legs, obviously, which we all know he's getting up there in age. So I understand that you maybe to a certain extent want to accommodate so you can fit that kind of a player in your team, because one, you need the leadership when you have so much youth, and two, he is just too good of a player to not kind of like, it would be like not trying to play a formation that would best suit Enzo. Like Enzo's too good for you to not get the best out of him. So maybe it could be something. But okay, backtracking to what I was saying. Let's just say, even if that's why you're doing it, it still doesn't excuse why you're putting someone who has been naturally a left back his whole career as a left winger. And like, it's not even like he's playing left wing back. He's just playing left wing. You have Mykhailo Mudryk, which, for what you want to say, whatever your opinion is and where you stand on Mykhailo Mudryk, he is naturally a left winger. You have Sterling, that you could say, yes, Sterling has been doing great on the right, but we have Nani Madueke that could play on the right. You can have players play in their natural position and still do what you want to do at the back with Levi Colwill and Axel Disasi. The other thing he mentioned too that I do want to point out, he says, why not bench him? I think, and you guys let me know what you think about this. Obviously, he's not going to bench Thiago Silva because you have Fofana who's out and you have Badiashile who's out. Two of the defenders that you could argue were going to be the key parts to phasing out Thiago Silva this season. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Oh shit! Go on.
I totally agree. The start to the season is on the manager. I mean, listen, if anyone's trying to argue that Thiago Silva is the reason that Ben Chilwell was playing on the left wing, I have no time for you, and none of us have any time for you, because that is stupid. There is no logical explanation that can rationally explain that. It just doesn't exist.
This is a very true statement, by the way.
What's this?
No, listen. As much as God of Frogs has a Chilwell agenda, he's absolutely right on this one. Like, even as a left winger right now, Chilwell is not tracking back. We saw it in that Nottingham Forest game. He did not track back at all. He did not come back to help Levi Colwill by any means in that.
But it's not a winger's job to track back. I don't see it as a massive problem. Especially
because Mudryk is no difference. He won't track back either. So why not play Mudryk? Who's and Chilwell.
But even then, I feel like Mudryk has tracked back. Maybe he's a little lazy about it. Maybe
he has at times. He has at times, and he hasn't at times. Like, it's inconsistent, but he is young. I think he's getting to grips with it a bit better as time goes on. But you can't play the guy into confidence and actually, you can't get him doing these things on the regular if he ain't playing. If he's getting 10-minute cameos off the bench all the time because Chilwell was playing there, and tracking back doesn't matter when you've got a centre back playing at left back. Like that's the one thing I don't track back. There's your argument. You got a centre back there to hold fort.
Okay. Did I accidentally? Okay.
I don't know. I was gonna say, like, I did give like Pochettino a little bit of excuse because I understand why not playing Mudryk on Nottingham Forest, because he just came back from a little injury, so you don't want to risk the start maybe. Cole Palmer, we just signed him from City, and most managers don't really play. Well, definitely start the player. Like literally the next day, like when it just signed him. The only player maybe could have started, I thought, maybe is Madueke on the left, but he's not really a left winger, so I gave him that excuse. So Next
But you
game,
could,
like,
you could still start though. You could play Sterling on the left and then have Madueke on the right. But
yes,
I get
yes,
your point.
of course you can play Stern, but maybe he doesn't want to play Stern on the left at all. Maybe he feels, because I think most of the Chelsea fans are saying keep Stern on the right because he's playing so well on the right, so we don't really want to change it. Don't change what's not broken, but hopefully he does some changes for Sunday, because if he doesn't do any changes for Sunday and the result is the same, he's going to have a lot of heat on his neck, let's say that, because he has Cole Palmer now you can start because we've had an international break and he had minutes coming on. And you have Mudryk, who's definitely had minutes in international break. You have Mudryk to use as well. Like, do not use Chilwell at left wing, because if you lose again, we're against Bournemouth, aren't we? If you lose to Bournemouth, like with Chilwell at left wing and the same players in the same position and nothing's changing, like we're just holding possession and just like losing, like not really creating enough big chances either. Like you got a lot of fans on you. Even me, I'd be on you as well after that point.
Yeah. All right. I guess let's continue the video, boys.
Why the need to start him? If Thiago Silva is so lethargic and so categorically slow in the build-up, then why are you starting him? Has Thiago Silva got Pochettino in a headlock that you must start him? Did we not say as a fan base that Thiago Silva cannot start every single, match? We should be looking to give others an opportunity. Have we not said that? If you think Thiago Silva is a problem, then why don't you play with Axel Desarcy and Levi Colwell as your two CBs?
Pause on that.
Why don't you play Ben?
So, problem I have with this, like, yeah, it sounds good on paper. Like, you get a fresh new backline, you get Cole and Desarcy in there. It's just not realistic, though. That's a completely new backline, and one of them is a 20-year-old kid. Like, it's just not realistic.
One's a 20-year-old kid, and the other one is still adapting to the Premier League.
Well, yeah, he's playing his first games right now.
Yeah.
And like, I'd understand this argument if it was a Desarcy and Badiashile, because A, they have experience together, and B, Badiashile's had 6 months in the Premier League, or even Colwell Badiashile, because the same reason. Badiashile's been here before. He actually knows it a bit. It's not like you're trying to adapt to being a Chelsea player or being a Premier League player all in one go. I just don't think it was ever realistic to drop Silva. And the Fofana thing, that creates its own issues. That's the reason we had Desarcy in the first place. So, he's a non-factor, though. I just don't think it was ever realistic that we wouldn't start these games without Silva.
Let me ask you something, though. What if when Badiashile is ready to start, do you guys think that then maybe we can get away with playing less games with Thiago Silva?
For sure, yeah. I mean, the way I'm seeing it, I don't want... Badiashile shouldn't come back into the squad against Bournemouth. We shouldn't come back into the starting 11. I'd like him on the bench, maybe bring him on if we're in a good position to do so. I'm not here for rushing players. We have the depth in multiple positions. A key one was right back. We now have depth for that. So if James is fit for Bournemouth, do not start him. Same thing goes for Badiashile. I'm not here for risking these players' long-term future just to get them in quickly and then maybe risk them getting a 7-month injury. So, but slowly but surely, as Badiashile starts picking up the minutes, you probably could. There's an argument he could come in for Silva. I mean, the point that Miz made there about being lethargic on the ball, I've made that point on this channel before. I think it's true. He is a bit slow on the ball.
Yeah, I meant to ask you guys that.
It'll take about 5 seconds. I don't think it is an issue because it's like, it's what people got on Jorginho for. It's setting the tempo of the whole team. If you're there taking 5 seconds to pass the ball and it's I'm just going to pass it to Colwell, I'm just going to pass it to Desarcy, we're not moving forward. We're not actually doing anything with the ball. If you're going to take that time, at least whack it long or pick someone out. But it's just like you're taking all this time only to move it sideways. Could just play with a bit more pace, and it shifts the opposition shape a bit more, and it gives us more openings to move forward. But it is lethargic. I do agree with Miz on that one.
Chris, do you want to add anything?
I know, yeah, I feel like I hear it like if it's taking so long and you just pass it side to side, what's the point? You can just pass it side to side like a lot quicker. But yeah, if he does takes his time and he pings the ball, I have no problem with, to be honest. But maybe it's gonna take Thiago Silva a little bit of time again to get into it because he is like 39, and that's the problem, I guess. Like he's not as young as he used to be. Like this is his 4th season at Chelsea, right? And I'm actually amazed. Like Thiago Silva's actually lasted in Premier League at this age for this long. I don't think any player, neither Ronaldo or even Zidane or any player, like can last to like 39 years old. So I give Thiago Silva a lot of credit to even lasting to like 39 years old. Like that's a huge respect to me as well, because you just can't get any other player to do that, and he's been doing it so good for so long. It's just this season it's like he's actually finally slowing down a little bit for me.
And you know what? Like I think this is a very good point from Texas Blue. I'm not gonna say the squad, but I'm gonna say that back line with Axel Disasi and Levi Colwill. If you take out Thiago Silva, I don't think it's nearly as strong. I think you need to put in Thiago Silva until you have a center back you can trust. And I think Fofana was supposed to play a big part in that, and unfortunately he got hurt. So I think to a certain extent, you kind of have to, quote unquote, accommodate for Thiago Silva because he's one of the few center backs you have that you can actually trust. And I guess that also could bring you to a whole nother discussion about Trevor Chalobah, but I guess we'll come back to that and talk about Chalobah later on in the video. But let's go ahead and continue this.
And Chilwell as your left back. Why don't you just go back to the traditional back four? What's stopping you? If Thiago Silva is such an issue, why are you not eliminating him away from the lineup and just play with the 4? That way, you don't have to play Ben Chilwell out of his position. You don't have to play Levi Colwill out of his position. And you carry on with life. So these people, some parts of the fan base, who are now starting to create a picture and starting to attack a particular defender who's probably been our best defender for the past few seasons. And all of a sudden, we don't want to talk about the manager. We don't want to put it out there that the manager is the one who had a particular plan in preseason that we all saw and that we all enjoyed and that we all were so excited about. And as soon as the season started, he's completely deviated away from everything we saw in preseason. And now we want to start blaming Thiago Silva for our misfortunes. This is what I'm to believe now. And are we happy with what we've seen so far with Axel Disasi and Levi Colwill? Levi Colwill, sure, with the ball, he's looked very good. Without the ball, some of his defending has been very, very scratchy, very shady. And Axel Disasi, the less we say, the better. We've seen the problems Axel Disasi has, the flaws he's got. Not saying that he hasn't been good in patches here and there, of course. If we are blaming Thiago Silva for the slowness of our build-up, who's the one who's coaching here? Who's the coach here? Who's the manager here? Surely Pochettino is watching all of that. Similarly, I've seen Axel Disasi being slow on the ball. Where's the talk about that? Let's not fool around here. All right, we've done all the fooling around last season. Last season, we fooled around. Last season, we came out with crazy theories, crazy conversations. Let's not do that again this season. The fact of the matter is, Pochettino started to do some madness since the start of the season. It all started from the Liverpool game. There was talks that apparently we weren't going to be using 5 defenders in that particular game. If you guys remember, we were all a little bit taken aback that what's going on here, 5 defenders. That was apparently a late change. If you guys remember, Axel Disasi was a late change in that Liverpool game. And the thought process from Poch was that having someone like Ben Chilwell in that left wing position was to help out Levi Colwill double up on Mo Salah. Well, he barely did that anyway.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. That's the other issue I'm having with the way the lineup has been set up lately with Chilwell on the left wing. We saw in the Nottingham Forest game, and I think we even saw a little bit of it in the West Ham game. Not so much in the Luton game because we were doing the formation seemed to work, but if the idea of playing Chilwell on the left wing was so that Chilwell could come back and help out and link up with Colwell, then why against Nottingham Forest did we not see that at all? Why is it that of the whole heat map that we saw, most of our creation was only coming from that right hand side? Like,
It's not just
that's what
Nottingham
I don't
Forest,
get.
though. It
It's not
happened
just
in
Nottingham
every
Forest.
single game.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Like, if you're seeing this as a manager, why aren't you addressing it? It's clearly not working. So why persist? That's what that baffles me. It's not working. He's not, and like, even if you want to persist with it, then why not tell Chilwell, hey, come back more, link up with Colwell more? Like, we had plenty of possession. It's not like Chilwell was marked off and couldn't come back and receive the ball and link up, and like, no, we had plenty of possession, and we could have. I think it's almost like he was instructed to stay up high. So I don't know if that's really the tactic of having him link up with Colwell and being like a reinforcement in the left center back position. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I don't think it's that. I mean, if the idea is to help Colwell double up on Salah or whoever's playing on the right hand side in a given game, then you're playing a back five. But you've said you're not doing that. You know, you've said that we're playing a back four. Silva said we're playing a back four. Someone else said we're playing a back four. I can't remember who within the club, but you know.
Well,
so I think it was him. Yeah. So Chilwell did that interview with TalkSport saying he's trying to learn how to shoot on the wing now. You know, it's horrific stuff. But anyway, you know, it's just if it's not that, which it clearly isn't, it's not them trying to double up on wingers on the right hand side or the opposition's right hand side. What it is for me, and I know I've said this, and Ahmed said this as well, he doesn't rate Mudryk. That's the only other feasible alternative to, he's doubling up, which he clearly isn't doubling up, so that's the only other alternative I can come to. He doesn't rate Mudryk. Chilwell's the vice captain, so it's a matter of trust. And we saw the thing from Liam Twomey as well. Liam Twomey from The Athletic said that Chilwell was trusted to make the right movements on and off the ball on that side. And, you know, that's the thing. It's about trust. And the thing that baffles me is, okay, yeah, you can move with or without the ball, but what about your dribbling? What about your shooting? What about your link-up play? You know, does none of that matter?
Go ahead, Chris.
No, like, I think the reason why it changed, like, it is now, like, with three centre-backs especially, is because Nkunku got injured. I think, like, we saw in pre-season, it was a lot different how many attackers we used compared to now. Like, I think Nkunku being injured is, like, stopped Pochettino's, like, way of style or play of football. Now that's why I think we signed Palmer, Cole Palmer. I forgot his name then. Cole Palmer. Like that's why we signed Cole Palmer to play as a 10 or winger. Like I think Cole Palmer is gonna be at 10, and either Chilwell's gonna be the left winger, or like a different winger like Mudryk is gonna play on the left, and then you got Sterling on the right. I think that's what it's gonna be as well. But that's why I think we've gone with like whatever this is, like Gallagher, Enzo, Caicedo, whoever it is in that midfield, and then we've got Chilwell on the left and Stern on the right, and Jackson in the strike, but no actual 10. So I think when Cole Palmer comes in, I think that's where it's going to be, like as a 10. So I think that's why it changed anyway.
I want to debunk that though, because I remember in pre-season, when Nkunku was fit, when everyone was fit, there's no injury excuses here. You know, everyone was fit.
Yeah,
we were still using this like back three structure on the ball, and that's not to say we were not playing three centre backs. That's the only difference. But what you'd get is that often the starting pairing in fullback would be Chilwell on the left, and then you'd have Gusto on the right. And what would happen is Gusto would become the right centre back, and Chilwell would bomb forward. So even with an Nkunku there, and in certain games also, Silva didn't play. I remember the centre back pairing in a few games was actually Chalobah and Humphreys. So there's no excuse for Silva being there. There's no excuse for Nkunku not being there. We saw that 3 at the back in possession structure. So this is where I'm looking at it, and I'm saying, you know, your supposed common denominator here, which is Thiago Silva or Nkunku, they're not there. So it just doesn't add up to me. I think it's just people scraping the bottom of the barrel, to be honest, and looking at it through certain optics.
What I will say though, Oliver, like in the Nottingham Forest game especially, we didn't play with a 10, and that's what I was on about, like that actual like curator like in the middle. Like we could say maybe Enzo's a 10 or something, but he's just not a 10. Or we can maybe say Gallagher is a 10, but I don't think he's really doing the 10 role prop like as an actual 10. I think he's doing a bit of everything. Like a Cole Palmer, he won't be like a Gallagher or an Enzo in that 10 role. Like he'd be an actual 10. So maybe like we might see it different. I'm really hoping we see it different against Bournemouth and Aston Villa after that game as well. Like I'm really hoping like Poch does something like that. What I'm thinking. That's why I've been a bit like staying back a bit on Poch. You know, I haven't been too like hateful because we do get an injury like every week. I think Chelsea do pick up like some sort of injury every week, and you can say it's a bit of an excuse, but I don't know what happened. Is it like letting Kai Havertz be our striker in the Champions League final, letting him score? Is that why we're getting injuries so many times now? But I don't know if whatever reason why we're getting injuries. So yeah, I think hopefully when Cole Palmer comes in, we actually play as a 4-2-3-1 formation.
I agree with the number 10 point, but it doesn't. That has no impact on starting a left back at left wing.
No, he's doing that pre-season. I agree with that because we used Matson at left wing, didn't we?
Yeah, but Matson to Chilwell, that's not the same. That's just not the same. Matson has a much lower centre of gravity. He's a better dribbler. He's a more incisive passer. We saw some of the passes he gave to Jackson in the pre-season. It's just levels when it comes to playing that particular position.
Why he hasn't used Matson over Chilwell?
Well, that's the thing.
Well, because the journalists are stupid. They don't want to ruffle feathers in the press conference. They're just idiots.
So that's the thing I wanted to ask you guys too, because like here's the thing, like I didn't have an issue with this formation. I thought it was weird, right? And by the way, before I go on, 49 of you guys are watching, but there's only 27 likes. Let's get those likes up, guys, please and thank you. I really do appreciate it. Wipe your feet at the door. But yeah, when it comes to that formation that we saw against Liverpool, I thought it was weird, but it looked like it worked. And the second half, especially, like we began to dominate a lot more. We were creating better chances. We arguably could have won that game, but Alisson, you know, he's a fantastic keeper. We made some really good chances for Jackson and so on and so forth. And Chilwell was playing the left wing. We had Carney as a number 10. Now, I think most of us can agree that at the West Ham game, the second game, the game after that one, we looked good in the first half, and then unfortunately we lost Carney, our number 10. And ever since we've lost that number 10 role, that Chilwell at the left wing position has not been working. Now, obviously, that is on Poch to like, hey, if this isn't working because you don't have a number 10, change the formation. There's no reason why you should be persisting with this. But would you guys say that maybe if we do get Carney back, if we do get Nkunku back, maybe that Chilwell as a left wing position actually works better?
I forgot about Carney, and that's why I think as well, like Cole Palmer has to play a 10 role because he can play a 10, and maybe he fills in the boots of like what Chuka's been doing, what Nkunku's doing, because we've been picking up an injury like at the 10 position, like left, right, centre, man. We have no 10s now, but Cole Palmer, like a natural 10 anyway. So maybe that's what it is. Like, I think that 10, like that number 10 role, is like a big crucial part of Poch's style of play. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but I think it is a big crucial. Like, because it like you said, Chilwell since Carney injury and even Matson looked really good with Nkunku as left winger. I know it's a bit different than that is, but it is. But yeah, like maybe we just need that 10, and now that's why we bought what's the name? Cole Palmer.
I will also say as well, guys, that I think we only really got to see Matson play as a number 10 in one game, in the preseason, and I think he ended up getting an assist, but it wasn't like a standout performance. It wasn't like an Nkunku kind of impact. Because you guys can see night and day when Nkunku plays in that number 10 position, you can see the huge difference in how fluid we look and how we get into these counter-attacking positions, how 1-2 touch passy Jackson and the link up they have going forward with Sterling as well. We're not seeing that with our current players. So, and I don't think I even saw that when Maatsen played in the number 10 position. So I don't think Maatsen played 10 against Newcastle in preseason. Got you. I don't think it's gonna be people want to say like, oh, just throw Maatsen in 10. I'm not sure Poch trusts him in the 10 position, and I'm not sure that Maatsen is convincing enough to start in the number 10 position. But I mean, Oliver, unless you have something to add to this, I'm gonna just continue the video.
I mean, that's a given, really. I mean, when it comes to I mean, you're comparing a player a young player that played left back for Burnley last season. You're comparing that to one of the best attacking players in all of Europe last season. It's chalk and cheese pretty much. So I understand that, but with Maatsen, it's not even about he has to play number 10. He's shown he can play on both flanks. He had a great season last season and before at left back. So you have options there. It's not just about getting him in that number 10. We have Palmer now, as Chris said, so that's a clear fill-in for now. And when you get a Carney or an Nkunku back, you can maybe put Palmer on one of the wings and then get those two back in whatever way you want to. So we have options. The fact that Palmer can play both sides, that's going to work to our advantage quite a lot with keeping him in the team.
Okay. So obviously we're going to see how Palmer works out, but let's continue the video and see what else Miss has to say about this Thiago Silva stuff.
But since then, because it kind of looked like it worked, we've stayed consistent with that. I seriously don't understand this whole Ben Chilwell left wing position. I mean, what are we trying to say here? Do we not rate Ben Chilwell as a defender? That's why we want to have him in the team by hook or crook as an attacker? Or are we trying to give a message out to the board that our left wingers are all rubbish? I mean, what an insult to our wingers. Players like Mudryk, players like Madueke, they should be looking at Ben Chilwell starting ahead of them at left wing, and they should feel insulted. They really should. But we are here to believe that all of this is happening, Ben Chilwell at left wing, Levi Colwill at left back, because we are accommodating Thiago Silva. We are here to believe that. We're here to believe that. I wasn't born yesterday. And I'm not going to fall for this nonsense conversation, BS conversation this season. The fact of the matter is, Pochettino has screwed up this first 4 games royally. The fact of the matter is, someone like Ange Postecoglou in Spurs, who's also a new manager, taken over a particular team that has underperformed under Conte, underperformed under Mourinho, and underperformed under many other managers, and he's come in these early stages and has got them playing some really, really good football.
Okay, so this is something I wanted to bring up because I've been thinking about this and why, Poch has been, it is early doors, right? It's only 4 games in. Who knows? Maybe at the end of the season, we're looking at this and laughing like, wow, remember when he used to play Chilwell at the left wing? And now look at us. We're number 2 on the table. We're going to challenge for Premier League. Like, you never know what's going to happen. Hindsight's 2020, right? But taking what we have now, I've always been like, I don't. People who want to say that, oh, it's the board and the players that they recruited for Poch. Poch, it wasn't Poch's choice. Poch is just a yes man, whatever you want to say. I mean, this kind of goes into this comment that I saved by Texas Blue. Why doesn't the people that assembled this squad get any stick? Chelsea fans always go at coaches, players, repeat issues more than that at the moment, which, sure, you can say that, but we've only just gotten these players this window and the January window. How quickly and impatient are we as Chelsea fans to not even let these players develop, not even let Poch, who is known for developing players, an opportunity to develop these players? Like, why are we this impatient to already want to blame them? I understand if you want to look at this, 5 years down the road, Mudryk flop, Maatsen, we end up selling and he goes on to Cook, Hall cooks, like 5 years down the line, if that all happens and all these signings turn out to be flops, then yeah, we're looking at Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart and saying, what the fuck did you do? You guys recruited terribly. But until then, like, some of these players haven't even had a half season with us. And it makes no sense to look at the board and be like, okay, board, this is on you. But even so, that's not even my point. We have had Chelsea managers come into this team with less backing and less support than Poch and have won Champions League for us. Have come into a team that's already built, a project that's already in progress, and have won us titles. Poch was with Spurs under Daniel Levy, who we all know is very hard to work with when it comes to getting players to back you. We have an Ange Postecoglou who has gone into a Conte established and a Conte built, I will say quote unquote, because I don't know if Conte was really backed as much as people want to say he
Conte was fucked.
He came into a
I think
Tottenham
Conte wanted a
team.
centre back.
Ange Postecoglou went into a Tottenham team missing Harry Kane, and he's making the most of what he can in that situation. I don't think Poch needs to be backed in order to make the most of this team. I think genuinely Poch is trying to fit a square hole into a peg. So that's why when I see comments like this, it's like, I can't blame the board when I've seen coaches come into this team and do a lot more with less backing.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
The problem with that is that you said assess in 5 years. We don't have 5 years. And Miz said this before, after last season and the circus of that, we're already smelling that a little bit, and we don't like it. We can't have that again. It's just not possible, because sooner or later, if we keep accepting that as the standard, we will fall afoul of FFP. It just will happen at some point, because without the right revenues and whatnot, without the lucrative shirt sponsors that come with playing high level, you're gonna fall into that problem. So we don't have 5 years, both from an emotional standpoint, where the fan base can't bear it, but also just from the club point of view and the way we run, it just can't happen. And this is where they shot themselves in the foot. You give Potter 300 million to spend when it was clear from about month 4 that he wasn't good enough, and you left him in there for that long and you gave him money.
Absolutely,
it's just a farce, to be honest. I've backed the ownership through a lot, but that was a disgrace. And
that's where they fumbled the bag.
If we come out the other side and it all goes well, then that will be nothing short of a miracle at this point, because you've bought players for a different manager when you knew he wasn't good enough. And if Poch can work with it, then fair enough. But at the same time, there is an element of he didn't buy these players.
But I feel that Poch is competent enough to be able to work with them. And it's not like we didn't clear out. Like, he essentially had a whole summer transfer window where we cleared out a lot of players and we got in a bunch of players. It's not like Poch didn't have a say in this. Like, Poch definitely sat down with the board to a certain extent and had a say in some of these players. Surely these aren't all just the board's picks.
That's the profile type of players.
But the thing is, though, we're not.
Had to stay in Felix.
The thing is, though, we don't
have Felix.
Yeah, and I've made that point before. But the thing is, we're not looking at. Well, at least the smart ones here. We're not looking at Axel Disasi. We're not looking at Robert Sanchez. And granted, people might not be impressed with Robert Sanchez, but he isn't the reason we picked up 4 and 4.
True.
Who else? You know, we're not necessarily looking at Caicedo. Granted, he's been terrible, but I personally put that on the club for not getting it done earlier and including him in preseason.
Yeah, no preseason.
When we could have done. But you know, we're not putting it on Poch's signings. They're not the reason for most of us that this has all gone wrong and we picked up 4 and 4. The reason is because, you know, we're playing 3 defensive-minded players in midfield. We're playing a left back at left wing. That's most of the problem, and these are all players that have been here before Poch. So it's not like we're even criticising his transfers. We're criticising the use of the previously available resources.
I will say, I do say, like, Poch has been handed a lot of youngsters. Like, how much we spent this season, a lot of it's been on youngsters. And, like, and I kind of see it, like, he does want to rely on some experience because Chilwell is, like, 26 or 25. Like, he doesn't want to play Mudryk, who's barely got any game time. He is young, but he's not super young, but he is young, but he's barely got experience. Madueke's like 21. Cole Palmer's like, what, 19 or something. We have got like a lot of young attackers. I think Jackson's 22 or something as well. But we have a lot of young midfielders. I rate every single midfielder we signed, actually, though. I rate Caicedo, Lavia, and Enzo especially. Like, they're all young, but you definitely trust them, of course. Our back line has got some experience for sure, like Thiago, Diassi, and what's his name? Is Gusto like 23? I don't know how old he is. He might be a lot younger now.
He's like 21, 22. He's very young.
He is quite young as well, but we do have a very young squad. I think we have one of the youngest squads in the Premier League, especially top 6 on average. So Poch, like, you know, we have to be a little bit patient with young players. Sadly, that's what it is. I wanted like to sign like another experienced attacker like Dybala, sorry, like for cheap, like 12 million. I know people have their opinions on him, but like I thought last season he did decent, so I would have took him on the cheap. But yeah, like, but then again, I've seen like Conte with very limited, like, get a Premier League title, and then the next season where he got fucked over, Simon Drinkwater, Bakayoko was shit, and he didn't get Lukaku. Lukaku would have fitted Conte more over Morata. Like, he didn't really. He got Zabacosta. Like, he had the worst, one of the worst transfer windows I've ever seen, fair, and he still won an FA Cup. We even seen Frank Lampard when we had transfer ban, no Eden Hazard get top 4 as well. So Poch, it's not the worst situation he's been out of all our managers. Like, I think even Lampard has been in a worse situation than where he's got top 4. I know, like, teams, it's a different season, so context, I guess, as well. But yeah, like, Poch has got a lot of young players, so we have to. It's going to take a little bit of time for me.
I can't fully back this experience argument though, because granted, you know, of course, it would be better to have some more experience. But what I don't like, one of my biggest pet peeves in football is token experience, I call it. So just look at last season, like some of the players that played regularly. You know, who were some of our worst players? You know, we weren't really going at last season. Oh, it's all the youngsters that are letting us down. No, it was the Azpilicuetas and the Koulibalys, and you know, when he played, the Mendy's and the Ziyech's. Those are the ones that we were going at. And
Ziyech barely played though. Come on.
I know. I said when he played, but and you also look at Mount and Havertz. You know, granted they're fairly young. They're experienced players. Look at their minutes. Look at when they started playing first team football. Don't tell me they're not experienced. I don't like this idea of token experience. Let's just have some experience. Put Chilwell on the wing because he's got experience. But where does it actually get you? Like I said, look at last season where you had your Koulibalys and your Azpilicuetas stinking out the gaff, and tell me that experience mattered then. You know, experience does matter, but you need to have a competent level in the position and the role that you're playing in.
I thought a big reason last season was because of Potter. Like, I didn't rate him, but this backs as well. Maybe look at Brighton since he left Brighton. Like, they got way better. They got to an FA Cup final. They got higher in the table over Potter. I think Potter was actually a very limited manager. Maybe he's an okay manager, but like he isn't like as good. He's what's that manager? He's Spanish in the for Brighton. I forgot his name, but he's doing a lot better than Potter. Anyway.
Deserby.
He's Italian, bro.
Yeah. No, I wasn't sure his nationality, man. I just went for nationality. He's just not English. I know that. I can tell by looking at him. He's not English. But he's done a lot better than Potter, so that maybe should say a lot about Potter as a manager. When you had a new manager, players got taken off Brighton, like Caicedo and their best player of the season as well, Cucurella, and now they lost Cole Will, and they're still doing fine without him. Like, they are actually doing fine without him. And
No, I
don't
agree with the
think
point
Poch-
about Potter. I don't rate Potter at all, but let's even go back to Tuchel. You know, we had experienced players. You know, Alonso played almost every game because of Chilwell being injured. We had Kante in, you know, that season for Kante in terms of what he did on the
last
pitch.
season you're on about, right?
No, I'm talking about the season before. When Tuchel's full season when we got knocked out by
Oh,
Madrid.
yeah, okay.
You know, Alonso and Kante played so many games that season, and they were really bad. So again, this idea I don't like about token experience. You know, let's actually get some. Forget the experience for a minute. We need to. Well, we don't forget it, but what I'm saying is, you have to pair the experience with enough competent ability in your position in order to do a job. Like if Chilwell was playing well on the left wing, then that's fine because you have experience paired with an ability to do your job. But without the ability to do your job, just like I mentioned with Koulibaly, Azpilicueta, Kante, Alonso, it's not good enough, and it never has been. So you've got to find a balance there. And Chilwell at left wing, you know, as we've all said, that's not it.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Let me go ahead and continue the video.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
You look at teams like Brighton, Roberto De Zerbi. Look at the way they are so free-flowing, and they've got a particular style, a particular philosophy, and you can clearly see when you watch their matches that what they are trying to do, what is their plan in attack with the ball, how they're going to rush into the box. We, on the other hand, many will tell you we are creating chances, but a lot of those chances are falling to Ben Chilwell because Ben Chilwell at times is acting as a striker. Now, whose fault is that? That's not Ben Chilwell's fault. That's not Ben Chilwell's fault. That's Pochettino's fault. Where's Pochettino's plans in attack when wingers have the ball? Where are midfielders, you know, in the setup? Why is there only, every time I see a winger have a ball, whether it's on the right side, whether it's on the left side, there's only one individual in the box that's either Nicholas Jackson or Ben Chilwell? Where are other players entering the box? What is our attacking philosophy? Everything that we saw in the preseason, it's disintegrated. And I'm here to now believe that the crux of all of this issue is because Thiago Silva is the one that's starting. I'm to believe he's the one that's ruining everything for us.
You know, that's actually a really good point. When you look back at preseason, we had games where we started with Thiago Silva and we looked absolutely fine. So now, after seeing this and seeing what Miz is saying, it leaves me more to believe that this idea, because listen, I was willing to sit here and entertain it, and I know me and Ahmed have disagreed on this. Like, Ahmed is of the belief that it's time to phase out Thiago Silva. We are playing with more center backs to compensate for him, or trying to accommodate for him. And I was always the opposite belief that, okay, I don't think that's true. I think we can play in the back four with Thiago Silva in the lineup and be perfectly fine. You know, you can say to a certain extent this is also a back four, but it's a little bit of a hybrid. But there were games in the preseason where we played with Thiago Silva and we looked just fine. So now I'm more inclined to believe that no, I don't think we are compensating or trying to accommodate for Thiago Silva in this lineup by playing two more center backs next to him. I don't know. I don't think so. Joel, this is literally what I'm talking about, though. I don't think he's even an issue because, again, we saw in the preseason, there were games where Thiago Silva was starting in that lineup, and we played just fine. And I think this is a big part of it. I think it's not even because we don't have Nkunku. I think it's largely because we don't have a number 10 right now. Enzo's not doing it. I think he's been further up the pitch in these last games. He's not been cutting it. We just got Palmer. He's not ready to start. Obviously, he came and made his cameo in the Nottingham Forest game. Did a pretty good job, I would say. But he's also not an out-and-out number 10 either. It's more of so like we're going to see how he fits into that number 10 position. But it's, again, But then again, the issue is Thiago Silva is that he slows down to play and he looks lethargic when defending, but the system is still flawed. Again, you could say that he slows down to play, but again, I go back preseason. It's not like he changed. Not like he was faster in preseason than he is now. In preseason, we still looked fine with Thiago Silva in that lineup, despite how we've been lately.
Can I say, like, as Chilwell or Diassi, like, being any much faster than Thiago Silva on the ball?
True. I also don't think so. Like, you could make the argument
I
that,
haven't
like,
seen it.
playing Colwell, maybe he's faster and maybe he's a little bit more creative when it comes to the passing range. But we're also not getting the best of him at left back. I'll say that for sure. But has he been? Will he be that much faster when it comes to dictating the tempo of the game at the back? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think
go on.
for anyone that's watched Brighton, you certainly know that he has the ability to. Colwell does. As for Disasi, there's no argument to be had there. He's not exactly speeding things up either. I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say he's customizing himself to the Premier League. There is an argument there. We can't be too harsh on the guy. I think a lot of people have been harsh on him. He had one bad game against West Ham and people kind of made their mind up. I think it's a bit unfair. But, regardless,
True.
Give him a bit of time. I think you're looking at Silva there again. He's the guy with the experience and the guy that's played in this league for longer than both. And this isn't to say that, like, by the way, when I said he made it lethargic, I don't mean he has to switch it up and play 100 miles per hour all the time. You got to just have a bit of variation to you again. You can do the short passes side to side a few times, but then vary it up here and there. I just haven't seen enough of that yet. That's me personally. Just you got to mix it up a bit more.
Yeah,
Chris, you in it? Okay.
Like I said, I don't think Thiago Silva is the problem, because if you ask a lot of Chelsea fans right now, what's the main problem with Chelsea right now? Is it the attack? Is it the midfield? Is it defense? And I guarantee you the higher percentage will be on the attack, because people will say we're not creating enough chances, or we're not scoring enough chances, enough goals. Like the Nottingham Forest game, we literally conceded one goal, and yeah, you could maybe blame it on Thiago Silva on nutmeg or Caicedo's bad touch, but we should be scoring at least 2 goals in that game against Nottingham Forest. Like,
I didn't say that.
No, this isn't on you, Oliver. I'm just saying, on our people saying Thiago Silva's the problem why Chelsea ain't winning or whatever. Like, he ain't the problem why we're not winning. It's literally the attack, I think, why we're not winning, because we're only using Sterling and Jackson as the actual attackers. And we need more attackers in a team, and that's not on Thiago Silva.
No, that's a fair argument. I just think is the reason I tried to jump in there. I just don't want anyone here, both on the panel or the chat, to go on to the other end of the spectrum and say that Thiago Silva has been faultless this season. I think there's a way you can look at it where you can say, okay, yes, there has been a bit of, there has been a bit of lethargicism on the ball, and some of the defending hasn't been good enough. But then, like you said, Chris, the attack hasn't been good enough. So you can't pin it all on one man. There was a collective failure here, both from players and manager. You've got everyone in this fan base has got to have that balance before they can start moving like they're correct or anything like that.
Yeah, that's what I said, man. Because he made that one mistake. Yeah, of course. But where was our goals against Nottingham Forest? I think every Chelsea fan on God's earth should be expecting 2 goals against Nottingham Forest.
Yeah,
and we didn't even get one. So
for sure.
For me.
You look at that lineup too. Sterling, Jackson.
Yeah, as we've said, the manager has to take huge criticism
against the Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
So,
I give him a little bit of benefit of doubt. We had a new player in injury, but if he does it not in the Forest, I won't give him the benefit of doubt at all.
But like Miz said in the video though, how was Ange Postecoglou coming in with Richarlison as his striker and he's battering Burnley 5-2?
Exactly.
Explain that one to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. You just can't.
But let's go ahead and continue the video. Maybe we finish it. Who knows? But let's continue.
Oh, there's 2 minutes left. Yeah.
All the nonsense has started again. I knew it. We needed to start things off in a positive manner because of the issues we had last season. And since we've not done that, everyone is starting to talk nonsense again. No one wants to look at the picture correctly here, and that is Pochettino just doing some absolute nonsense setup at the moment and using personnel in the wrong areas. And it's only going to get worse over the next couple of weeks throughout this international break. And if we don't end up winning against Bournemouth after the international break, oh my God, all hell will break loose. All hell will break loose. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know if you are aware of all of these nonsense conversations that's been happening in social media. People attacking Thiago Silva. We've already seen on Instagram Thiago Silva replying back to a particular fan. No respect. No respect. From a defender that is probably got the best know-how out of all of our defenders at the moment. These defenders that we have need to learn from Thiago Silva.
Just a quick one, by the way.
The art of defending.
I don't know about you guys, but that Instagram post that I believe it was Talk CFC was the account that posted it. I didn't think that was particularly disrespectful. I thought it was actually worded quite considerably.
So that's the thing too. Like I feel like the way that Miz worded this, by the way, and then again, I'm not looking at the comments section on that Instagram post. I'm not really involved with the whatever the conversation is on Twitter at the time. But like, I don't feel that Instagram post was disrespectful. I don't feel like it was even really blaming Thiago Silva for the loss or blaming Thiago Silva for a recent form. I think it was only pitching the idea that it could be a possibility that we're playing information we're playing to one of the reasons being to, you know, compensate for having a Thiago Silva or to try to accommodate playing a Thiago Silva. Because let's also not pretend, guys, let's not pretend that we didn't have a Graham Potter do the same exact thing, play with 2 extra center backs. Let's not pretend that Tuchel, who when he came into this team, everyone was saying he's going to play 4 at the back, 4-2-2-2-2, 4-2-3-1, like whatever. We were all going to say he's going to play attacking football. And then what does he do? He plays a 3 at the back. So let's also not pretend that back then we had a select amount of players that we tried to accommodate for. Back then it was Jorginho we tried to accommodate for, Thiago Silva. We also had who else? Aspie, I think, was one of the players we tried to accommodate for as well.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So like, let's not pretend that we didn't have these lineups, just 3 at the back, to accommodate for certain players, and that, you know, we still ended up getting results even with those accommodations. I kind of forgot where I was going with this, but my point being, going back to this, like, I don't think it was disrespectful or really blaming Thiago Silva. I think it was pointing out something that, like, we might be doing 3 at the back because we have to accommodate for Thiago Silva because he's so good. You want to play him, but at the same time, like, you have to make up for his lack of speed. You have to make up for his slower tempo, I guess, if you want to place that argument there, you know, whatever and whatnot. But yeah, go ahead, guys. I'm sorry.
I will say, he still had those couple. He still has a couple like good sprints in him because if you remember the Liverpool game, he subbed on Darwin Núñez. He outpaced Darwin Núñez for the ball, like, and he's literally at the same line when they ran for it. He isn't like super slow like Harry Maguire. I think Maguire's a lot slower than him. Like, there is defenders who are slower than him. I think Diassi isn't really much faster than him. I don't think either. I don't know. Like, I don't think he's super slow, but so that's why I don't think us going. Well, I don't think we are playing back 3 at all. I think people are just assuming because we have 3 centre backs, so it kind of looks like we're playing back 3, but we're not because Chilwell is literally playing left back and Chilwell's playing left wing, sadly. But yeah, I don't think Thiago Silva is that slow, but yeah, he has lost pace clearly from even 5 years ago. If you compare Thiago Silva's pace then to now, it's dropped off a little bit. But I haven't had a big issue with Thiago Silva this season. I don't want to freak out over Thiago Silva because it's not even needed because I still think he's doing a decent job. He ain't as good as he used to be, of course, but it's just not the main problem for me. My main problem for me has been a little bit of lack of experience, just a little bit. Maybe that's just nitpicking, but and not us scoring enough goals. Maybe we need an actual, like, another striker as well who can score goals, or
Sure.
player, or attacker like a 10 or something. Like, I think Nkuku would have scored goals, especially as well this season. Like, I think he might have scored 1 or 2 as well, so that would have helped us this season. But you know what? He's injured, so what can you do? You can't force an injured player to play, can you?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just what it is, man. We just gotta deal with it.
And I will say, Martin, I do agree with this. I think a good way to solve it would be to have Enzo drop deep. But I think the issue we have is going back to that number 10 position, because we don't have, because I think the ideal formation to have Enzo drop deep would be in a 4-2-3-1. I don't think it would be wise to have him drop deep or be the single pivot player in a 4-3-3. We saw what happened last season when we tried that, when we had him in that number 6 role. And okay, cool, you get the creativity and good passing and I guess a faster tempo from him, but defensively he's a little bit of a liability. He's not as good defensively as Jorginho was. So and the pace isn't, he's not that much faster than Jorginho was in that position either. So in that situation of a 4-3-3, you probably would want to play a Caicedo, or I mean Lavia, if he's fit, obviously you want to put Lavia in there. So again, like, it's one of those, like, because we don't have a 10, can we really play a 4-2-3-1? You know,
this thing I was going to say, like, you know, that's a valid point. You know, when Enzo does drop deeper to help us,
now
you know,
we play Palmer, but we didn't have Palmer for
Yeah, when Enzo drops deep, it definitely helps us out. You know, we saw that particularly against Liverpool. That's one of the reasons why we leveled up so much in the second half. But at the same time, we've just bought Caicedo for 115 million, who has a reputation at Brighton for being good on the ball, and he's taking ridiculous touches like the one he did against Forest, which set everything in motion to cost us that goal. And you know, Enzo can't be the only solution there. Caicedo has to, and granted, it is early doors. Give him time, of course. He's young, fair enough. You know, don't give him too much time, but you know, he is still bedding into the new team. He hasn't had preseason with us or at all, really. But you have to put some responsibility on him as well. You know, he's good. He's good enough on the ball. We've seen it, so he's now got to show it. It can't just be the Enzo show, because it's going to be end up being Enzo's got to build up and then create for us. And you're going to get what you get with Jackson, where he's burning himself out because he's doing everything and something else as well. So, you know, you've got to share responsibility across the midfield line, I think, as well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go ahead and see if he has any last words to say as we finish the video.
I think it's a goodbye, Marshall.
Maybe. We'll see. Let's see. Hold on.
Goodbye, the other side of the coin.
They're still amateurs in terms of defending skill set. They need to learn from Thiago Silva, as opposed to pointing the finger at him and showcasing that he's the one who's the biggest issue in this whole situation and our miserable start to the season. Let me know, ladies and gentlemen, what your thoughts are in the comment section. I'll catch you guys later on. Take care.
Okay, so that was the video, guys. I think there was a lot of good points, and I think really the only thing I disagree on is probably how this was perceived. I think, you know, Miz kind of sees it as scapegoating Thiago Silva, where I think the purpose of that post on Instagram was only to point out that, listen, guys, this could be a reason why we're playing this formation and why we're not doing as well as we should. And I think it's a viable argument to bring up. I don't think that's why we're playing a formation, and I don't think that's causing us to lose. But I don't think it's insulting either, and I don't think it's scapegoating. I don't know if you guys feel the same about that.
I mean, at the same time, though, I do. There are definitely people in the fan base that are acting like that. I think though, for those people that are doing that, I think that's more of the type of audience that Miz is kind of trying to reference here. I don't think it's so much the Talk CFC Instagram post. I think it's more the people that are calling him an old age pensioner and, you know, names and stuff, you know, because there are those people on Twitter, you know, the toxic place that it is. So, you know, it's more directed to those people, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. Chris, any final thoughts?
Don't look at Twitter.
True. You know what, Chris? Just for that, you're right. You're right,
Hey,
Chris.
this is why I didn't. I barely
Absolutely
paid
right.
attention to it.
What a champion. Champion.
Yeah, don't look at Twitter unless it's Chris posting clips of Class Rev just glitching out.
Jesus Christ.
I don't pay attention to it too much, man. Maybe I need to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we could close it on this, Martin. This is a good question, man. I guess if I had to point out 3 sticking points as to why things aren't working out for us, I think the main one is not playing someone who is naturally a winger in that wing position is hurting us tremendously. I think we need to, because even when we had a number 10, which the other reason is going to be we don't have a out and out number 10. That's going to be my second reason, right? But even when we did have a number 10, Chilwell wasn't necessarily like missing opportunities or creating as many chances as like Raheem Sterling has been, you know? So like, yes, in the Liverpool game, he had the offside goal, he got the assist, but was he like an outstanding left winger player? Like, was he better than Raheem Sterling in that game? I don't think so. So it's that for me. Number 2, we don't have an out and out number 10, like I said, and I think that's a big part of Poch's system and what he wants to try to do with this team. And number 3 is the amount of injuries we're sustaining, our medical staff. I think we need to fix up whatever is happening at Cobham, whatever's happening at Stamford Bridge with our injuries, whatever's happening at Chelsea, because holy shit, that's 3 seasons in a row where we're going through so many injuries, different medical staffs each season. Something has got to give. Something is going on here that's not right.
We now got Lavia, don't we?
Yeah, Lavia's out for 6 weeks. Apparently, Carney has got another month added onto his injury. You know, Fofana with the ACL. We had Badiashile who got hurt as well off the pitch from a hamstring last season, who was only just returning. Like, you know, Nkunku as well. Is it MCL and Nkunku? I think it's an MCL. I don't remember. But he hurt his knee as well. Broja. Like, the list goes on. We're just getting out, injury. Like, something's going on. Trevor Chalobah, another one as well.
Have you picked up an injury through training?
Well, on Chalobah, yeah, it's not like we're going to see him playing anyway. And
he's like a 7th choice, man.
I'm only pointing that out. You know, I rate Chalobah higher than most, but you know, the reality of it is that he won't be playing. So it's a bit of a non-factor when you take everything into consideration.
That man ain't given up, though. He's never given up.
Fair play to him. I mean, fair play to him, and it's probably going to be to his detriment at the end of the day. He should, I think, with everything we're seeing now, where he's not going to play a game again until January, where he's going to get sold, he should have just taken the move to Forest. But you know, that's his choice, so he's going to have to live with that, I'm afraid. I like the player, but he had an opportunity there.
The thing is, though, like I feel like with Chalobah, he had the opportunity to go to Bayern, and there was talks going on. It was very last minute. It was very at deadline day. And as a player, maybe you hope that you can get the deal done and you say no to Nottingham Forest because you still have, you know, Bayern on the table. And to be fair, the Bayern deal didn't collapse until the last 24 hours of the window.
It collapsed because the end of December, right? The deal ended because the transfer window ended for Germany.
I think the problem is that we wanted a 50 million tag on him, and Bayern didn't want him that badly.
Well, I mean, I understand the circumstances. We wanted to sell the player. Bayern didn't want to buy the player. They wanted to loan him. And we didn't have he would have been our last international loan when we have other players we're trying to loan out internationally that aren't going to cut the main squad. You know, we're trying to sell where we could. That's the context to it. So, I mean, you can say this is on Chalobah for not taking a Nottingham Forest offer when it was given to him. Or you could say, you know, it's just unfortunate because Bayern was at the table and we couldn't, you know, come to an agreement with Bayern as for how to go about, or we didn't even have enough time really to come to an agreement with Bayern as to how we want to proceed with letting Chalobah go.
I think overall it's a bit of both, really.
Yeah. Chris, did you want to add anything to that?
I understand why he didn't want to pick Nottingham Forest. You can't really force a player to play somewhere. It's like Gallagher. He didn't want to play for Everton. That's fair enough. That's his choice. It's not like slavery where we can just force a player. to go to another club without his consent. Like, it is what it is. Like, I think Chalobah would want to play for a decent club. I don't think Chalobah's that bad either, but I actually didn't want to sign DRC or another centre back because I really didn't think we need to. I felt comfortable as Chalobah as that 4th choice or 5th choice centre back, whatever. Like, if Fana came back, like, he would be 5th choice. So I was fine with Chalobah being that choice, but now he's been put further down because we just needed to sign another centre back because apparently DRC is just more experience or whatever, just a better centre back and maybe. So it is what it is. Like, when he goes, I won't lose sleep on a player because I've seen so many players leave Chelsea. I've seen great players leave Chelsea. I've seen a lot of young players leave Chelsea. It doesn't matter to me. We move on.
I was
will
fine
also
with.
say, though, just to add, guys, to
Yeah,
this
go on.
discussion, it goes to show that even though, well, he's been injured. Never mind. Because I was gonna say, it goes to show. Yeah, actually, that's you know what? I just realized something. Chalobah was playing pretty frequently under Poch in the preseason before he got injured against
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Brighton. So, you know what? We okay. You know what? How about this? Do you guys think we'll see Chalobah more now that he's fit?
Nope.
And maybe we'll start seeing less of Disasi or maybe less of Thiago Silva in the lineups?
Just based on the reports, I don't think so. No.
I don't know, but that's the thing.
Yeah,
That's the
playing.
thing. Guys, that's the thing. Based on the reports, the club didn't want Gallagher either, but Poch still persisted to play Gallagher. I think the only reason we haven't seen Chalobah is because he's been hurt. And he was playing in the preseason.
But I think preseason was playing through lack of alternative. You know, Fofana did his ACL, didn't he? Disasi wasn't bought until days before the Liverpool game. He didn't play a single game in preseason. I just don't think there was enough alternatives there to really share the minutes around enough where Chalobah would find himself out of the team. That's just the way I see it. You know, now that there's more competition with Disasi coming in now, I just can't see a way back in. And like I said, the reports would suggest that he's not got a way back in. I think it's different with Gallagher, where he's actually, you know, many would argue he started the season pretty well. There is definitely an argument to that, in my opinion. So, you know, with him starting the season well, you know, there's an argument that he merits to stay in. Whereas Chalobah, you know, you can say what you want about Chalobah. If you rate him, then that's fine. But he has no body of work this season where you can say, oh, he should be in the team. That's not the way I look at it, because I do rate the player, but I'm just looking at the reality of the situation at the end of the day. You know, it's been pretty clear for a while that he wasn't going to be in our long-term plans.
Chris, any 2 cents on that?
Sorry, I missed that. I went to do something.
What do you think? What do you think could happen to Chalobah once he's back from his injury? Because if you remember correctly, in the preseason, he was being played a good amount. He got hurt. Yeah. We got the sassy. No, in the preseason, he was being played a good amount.
But we saw him freeze play. So
okay, I mean, Chalobah was given captaincy. I feel like there was a little bit of more. Go ahead.
Yeah, Chris, you're actually right there about so was Humphreys. You got to remember, preseason doesn't matter. You know, our two. I'm not saying. I'm not saying.
I mean, even in this season, Humphreys has gotten minutes.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that preseason shouldn't matter. But you look at the way Poch has handled things. You know, our two best players. You know, one of our best players from preseason was Maatsen, and he can barely get on the bench anymore. Our other best player was Andre Santos, and he's been sent to be a 7th or 6th choice option at Nottingham Forest when the reports were always that he was going to stay in the squad. And now all of a sudden, Leslie Ugochukwu come in, and now he's apparently favoured out of nowhere when it was the suggestion he was going to go on loan. So at the end of the day, you know, we might want pre-season to matter, but Poch clearly doesn't value it too much.
No.
I don't value
Chris, what are your thoughts?
that much. I don't value it that much either. I didn't. Well, it's because we signed DRC. You know what? Like I'd be shocked if I see like Chalobah come in very soon, because we got like DRC, Thiago Silva, Chilwell, and all that like to go through. I just don't see it. Well, maybe not Chilwell because he's our left back now. Like I got to think of him as a left back until I see him play centre back, but. Nah, I don't really. The only thing I can see Chalobah can play is FA Cup and Carabao Cup mainly. And that's what it's going to be for me. sadly. Unless he proves himself, like in training and in the cup games or whatever, he should be starting, and I think he should have that chance. Like if he's like playing really well, he should have that chance in the Premier League. I think. But
Chris, just to go back to a point you made earlier about he might want a better club than Notts Forest. I have no problem with that whatsoever. That's absolutely fine as a player. If you want to have a higher ambition than that, then that's fine. And I'm not saying that he will do this because, as Andrew has pointed out many times, you can clearly see his character through the way he just presents himself and on social media. He's definitely a very humble guy. But I'm not saying he will do this, but you've chosen to stay at Chelsea when you've clearly been ostracised and been shown that you're not part of the plans. Please don't be complaining that you don't have any minutes because you knew the outcome and you've taken this path now. That's my only point on that. And fair play to him. I hope he succeeds in whatever he does. But I just think the writing's on the wall. And if I were him, I would have made the move.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's not because I don't like him. That's because I think that's the best thing for his career. He's going to rot on the bench for half a year now. As it stands.
He's just going to want to prove something to Poch. And if he does,
we'll see.
That's really good.
We'll see. You never know. Something could happen, and if he comes back, maybe we see a change in the lineup. Because at the same time, like, we're asking so many questions about the manager. Who knows what happens when certain staff come back into the team, how the manager changes his approach. So, if come this next patch of games before the next international break, we don't see Chalobah in any of them, or even on the bench, then that tells us a lot. So, we'll have to see. And then we'll go from there. But guys, that's been the video today. That's been the live stream. Thank you so much for being here. We're gonna go ahead and raid our friends at Never a Foul. They're currently discussing Chelsea. We have Carefree Lewis over there as well, so go and show your support. Copy and paste that raid message over there, and no, don't give them hate. Copy and raid that raid message. Let them know where you're coming from. Let them know that they have been raided. So show your support, show your love to the other content creators. As always, guys, make sure you smash up those like buttons. Be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. We're on our way to 3,000 subscribers, so help us achieve that goal. Make sure to check out the links in the description below, as we do have other links to other people's content and socials. Also, leave a comment. Let us know about everything that we discussed today, your thoughts, what you disagree with, what you agree with, and memberships. We have 4 different tiers starting at 99p, and at the proper casual and higher tier, you get a shout out at the end of every single live stream. So shout out to Winter Surfer, OG Turbo Jesus, Dark, Scott, Adrian, and Will, who are proper casual and hired, and shout out to the rest of our members as well. You guys have been really supportive, and it does help out the channel tremendously. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the emojis. The more members we get, the more emojis that we can unlock on YouTube. But guys, as always, go ahead, copy and paste that message. I'll see you over on Never Foul. We might have another stream on Saturday. It's not certain yet, or maybe Friday, I don't know, but I will let you guys know. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss out when we do go live, in case I don't let you know. But guys, thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful night, and peace. Stay casual.